Streetboarding dreams, future and past. Here in the present, it's DRGNCAST.
Great, so
Perfect.
cool. I'm keeping my
There we
eye.
go.
Cool. So, how we wrote, like, on purpose, we try not to like talk too much before, because we like it to be all spontaneous. It just kind of works like that.
Okay.
What we do an intro, but actually we decided we're going to record those like a little bit at the beginning separately. So, because Sam's actually going to come up to London on the Saturday this weekend, so we're going to do something there. So we'll just roll pretty much straight into the conversation. And like, first of all, I just want to say thank you, man, for doing this. It's fucking cool. It's been
My pleasure, man. My pleasure.
Thanks.
And I've never met you, Sam, so I've heard nothing but good things. So
Really?
yeah. I've heard you have nice style, which is very important to me. So
yes,
that means a lot, man.
Cool. All right, cool. So I'll do the very I don't know how we're going to do this, Sam. We'll just roll into it. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, man. Well, I guess we wanted to start at the beginning, you know?
Yeah. How did you
wind up on a snakeboard?
Yeah, so I'm just gonna let it rip. So I'll let you, off the cuff here. So my brother, Brian, my youngest brother, I got two younger brothers. He was really into skateboarding. I was more of like a soccer player growing up, and my mom goes to go get a skateboard, and in the parking lot are these kids zipping around on these boards that she was like, this is amazing. I've never seen anything like this. She got a flyer. She goes in a store and she meets Brandon Eifred, who's like the brand X, worked for Snakeboard USA. And she bought a board. She brought it home. So it's Christmas time. We open up this thing. We watch the video and nobody can ride this thing. It just sits there. It sits in the closet for probably 3-4 months or something. And my mom gets the idea of contacting the guy who sold it to her and says, listen, would you mind coming over and riding and showing my son, Brian, how to ride it? And as soon as I saw Brandon ride it, I go, okay. I see what's happening. So I started riding it, and Brian started. And so Brandon was building a little team for himself. He had a snakeboard van. He would come around, pick up his crew, mostly surfers and skaters, because Ventura, where I live, is a very surf town. Brandon is a surfer. Yeah. So he would take us and we would go to actually a boys and girls club in a racquetball court. So it's a nice smooth surface. Mm-hmm. And he'd set up a little launch ramp and a little rail.
And that was it.
And that was it. Damn. That was it.
What year are we talking? What year about?
Talking 1993.
Okay. Yeah. So right.
93.
Early days.
So yes. Brandon was he was a rep for Snakeboard, or?
Correct. Yeah. And he, I think their account was with like a sports chalet. Mm-hmm. I don't know how extensive that was, but what he would do is we would set up a launch ramp in front of a sports chalet, like on a Saturday or a Sunday. And he would bring his team and we would ride in the front of this store. So people walking in would be like, oh, I'm going to go buy one. And they would go in the store. And that was the marketing plan. So the video, I heard you guys talking to Kelly. All right. Yeah. So you mentioned if there's footage of Ashley. There is footage of Ashley.
Oh, really?
It's out there. Yeah. It's on YouTube. It is. Really? So Ashley, you can see him on YouTube on the video in the 1994 World Championships. But even before that, when I bought the snakeboard, it came with this video, and this video is actually really cool because It takes place in Venice, California. So, it's like all graffiti and boardwalk, right? And you see some riders that you probably never hear of. So the person that was, I was told when it was 1993, that was like the hot rider, was this guy named Lear, okay? Lir, Lear.
Lear. Yeah.
He's in this video, all right? Now, Lear lived in Santa Monica. He's like a model actor or something, right? So he's in this video, and he's riding, and I actually got to meet Lear later, and I'll tell you about that. But you also see Jamie Amato.
Mm-hmm.
Jamie, there was Ray Moore in Snakeboard USA, and there's Jack. Jack was another person that you didn't hear about much.
No.
You can actually see what Jack looks like if you watch Hellburger closely.
Yeah.
Because they're in the fall section, Victor's younger brother, Brian, goes up to do like a 50 on the fun box, and he just wrecks himself. Yeah. And you see an adult man go, oh my, like turn away, like, I don't want to watch this. That's Jack.
Okay. So Jack, what was his, because Ray Moore is somebody I'd heard about a lot. So what was Jack's involvement then? What was his part in those early days? Ray
and Jack were the capital. They were the old tennis money. And again, Kelly's correct in that this was like their side project. They took this as like, let's see what we can do with this. Mm-hmm. And, a lot of people had their hooks into them. So, some of the people that got their hooks in them, hey, let's create something for exercise, right? That was kind of like a marketing thing. And then, Kelly, because he lived in Palm Desert and was a skater, like he got a lot of the attention, and he could actually, do stuff on the board. But see, in this first video that I'm describing, it is out there. I don't know what it's called. I wish I could tell you.
Is it the one, are they skating in Venice where there's loads of graffiti, like concrete benches and stuff?
Yes.
Yeah, I can picture it.
That's a famous old skate spot.
Yeah.
It is a famous skate spot. In that video, Ashley 360s off of a set, and Jamie actually does an air to grind on a rail, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
An air to 50, which on the fisheye lens, it looks massive, right? I was not there, but when I met Brandon for the very first time, he had just come from that photo shoot. So he was telling me about all the things that people are doing.
Gone down.
Kelly, ironically at the time, he wouldn't wear heel straps because he thought they didn't look cool. So he would just wear toe straps. Right.
So what was your background before you started riding? Were you a skater and you a surfer from Ventura?
I had not surfed yet. I was 12, 13 years old. I did gymnastics. I did soccer. I liked basketball. I did like riding skate, but really I was so intrigued by first of all, the difficulty of just riding. Like I thought that was really cool. Mm-hmm. And then Brandon became like my best friend. So Brandon, in the early days, Brandon would pick me up, and it could be just me and him. And we would go to a tennis court, and he would set up a launch ramp. Now, there's no internet, right? I don't know what's possible and what people are doing at all. All I've seen is Totally Committed with Kelly and his crew and all they're doing, and that other video. So I had that to go by. So as soon as I duplicated all of that, I'm like, well, what's next? Right. So I would watch snowboard and skateboard videos, and mostly snowboard. And so Brandon would take me to a tennis court on a launch ramp and a rail. And I would do frontside 180, backside 180, frontside 180 nose grab, backside 180 nose grab, frontside 180 bar grab, and on, and then 360, and then 540, right? So in 19, this is going to trip you guys out. So before Guernsey, before the World Championships, when I would do demos, at the end of the demo, Brandon would set up the rail on the side of the launch ramp, right? So it would go down, okay? I would, 1993, bar slide down that.
No.
I would backside bar slide down that.
What do you mean
and
backside?
I would 180.
Like blind, like a front side board slide?
Yes.
Because this is blind.
Both. Both directions.
That's nuts.
And I would 180 fakie 5-0 that.
No.
In fact, 180 fakie 5-0 was one of my best reproducible tricks. I could do it on long flat rail, handrail. I was super comfortable. I think I was comfortable because that was my nose manual foot that I had so much balance on. So I think that's why.
So did you do a board slide on a bar slide on a rail before Ingo?
So this is also interesting. So I get to Guernsey. We could go into this more, and we get to we go right to the event, and Ingo's already there, and he has set up a guardrail off of a launch ramp, and I see him go up and hit it with like a 5-0 or hit it with a bar slide. And I say to myself, oh, somebody else is doing that. Like it was unheard of by anyone else, but I didn't know what anyone else was doing. I was just doing, I was doing what I thought was possible.
How old were you when you went to Guernsey? Because that was the first World Championships, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
doesn't know.
Yeah. So that was 1994, and I just turned 14, or I was about to turn 14. Yeah, I think I was 13.
Must have been a strange place to visit for a 14-year-old kid, 13, 14-year-old.
I've never been out of the country before.
Yeah. Then you go to Guernsey.
I sailed to Guernsey.
This is crazy. So here's how it happened. AJ, Action Jackson, all right? You've heard of him, whatever. Mm-hmm. He's the reason I think snakeboarding was doing the NIS events, because he was like a big-time rollerblader guy. So he had big-time connections. He had a house in Venice.
Okay.
So one day, Brandon brings us to AJ's house just to do a session. I meet Kelly and his whole team for the first time. Never seen him before. I go into AJ's house. He's a wild man. I see like he's growing pot plants. Like it's crazy, man. I'm 13, all right? And out in he lived in a cul-de-sac. Out in the street, he had like ramps and rails out there.
Sick.
And so I've never seen Kelly do anything. Brandon made a video of me and he brought it to AJ. In the video, the music he used was Snoop Dogg. I remember this. I have a crazy memory, so I'm gonna tell you some details.
Which Snoop Dogg song? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I don't.
Must be from the Dog Pound, or.
Yeah, it is from the Dog Pound for sure. And I could maybe get that to you, but I know the track.
Yeah.
I've got CD. Don't worry about it.
So we're set. We're doing a session in the back of AJ's house. I've never seen Kelly ride. So he's doing stuff off the launch ramp, right? But then I go do what I've been doing. All I've been doing is launch ramp and rail. That's it. So I'm board sliding the rail. I'm doing 540s and I'm doing 720s and I'm doing 720 grabs.
Damn.
AJ tells snakeboarding, you've been sending Kelly all over. Send this kid to England. Give him a shot. And they do.
Cool.
So I'm like a wild card entry. In fact, the picture I sent you, somehow, my parents saved this. It has the entry list of the Guernsey Championships.
Yeah.
Cool. We'll
It's
try.
actually-
We'll flash this up on the. We'll edit it into the screen.
Isn't Guernsey a little bit of France as well?
Yeah. Yeah.
You went to-
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah.
We took I remember the ferry we had to take over there.
Yeah. Where did you flew to London and then onto Guernsey? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, London to a ferry. I didn't know. I traveled by myself. I did not know. I had like a chaperone person. It wasn't anyone I ever knew. Jason went, and actually, I think Pete and I was there too.
Oh, really?
But that was the American. Yeah.
Okay,
Pretty
because
sure.
for me, Pete Nye was somebody I kind of heard about like later on than those early days. So.
Well, so Pete was like a grown adult already. You know, he was older, and when I came back from winning, they would send me to vert ramp shows, and they were usually with Pete because Pete was one of the only people at the time that was comfortable on a vert ramp. So, and he was a hard charger on the vert ramp, right? So, so Guernsey was crazy. I met Ian. I will say, Ian Calvert, I love you, man. You were so nice to me. I was so shy. I know no one, man. I felt like, and he was just so welcoming and sweet. So like when I heard the interview talking to him, like he looks the same, like it just, he's a person that I miss a lot is Ian. He was super dope. And all the little things I was doing, all the little manual tricks, all the little things, he was like, you know, whoa, man, this is crazy. So, and he was near my same age.
Yeah, you guys, I was going to say you're about the same age, it must have been. So.
Yeah, because I mean, most of those people there were, Ingo was an adult, Ashley was an adult, like.
Yeah. Well, cool.
Yeah.
How was it? So what was the contest like? What was it like rocking up there? Because I've got the list here. It's like Ashley Morgan, Gilbert. Is that you, Thomas Keenler? I don't know. Yeah, like who have you got in there? Like Thomas Alanya, Matt Law, Darryl Cooper, Sean Goff,
Really?
Tom from the UK. Yeah, man, you've got some big names. How was it like rocking up? Anya Kurtz is on there. That's correct. That is like a piece of gold dust, and obviously Ingo. How was it rocking up at the contest? Didn't it rain on the first day? If I remember seeing the footage that was from back then.
So here's how it went. There was going to be 3 events: downhill, street course, launch ramp. That was going to be the setup. We had a jam session day. So the first day was a half a day, and I didn't do anything. So we had photographers that are like, hey man, I'm going to be filming you. You gotta like really do your stuff. And I was just kind of like getting my feel for what I was going to do, lines and stuff. So nobody thought really anything of me at the time. My roommate was Chuck from Germany, the crazy downhill guy.
Yes,
right?
I remember him now. The name from the past, man.
Okay. So this guy wakes me up. He doesn't speak a lot of English. Wakes me up at like 6 a.m. The day of the photo shoot. And he goes, let's ride. Let's go ride. And, again, he's like 20 years old. So I'm going with him, right? We go to bomb the hills that are outside the hotel. This man eats it like 5 times going down this hill. And I'm just, I love speed and downhill. And so at the bottom of the hill, we hitchhike back up. And to this day, that is the only time in my life I've ever hitchhiked is with Chuck then.
Chuck had a vert ramp in his back garden, didn't he?
He had a vert ramp, and he actually had one of those like down, like a launch for a snowboard built on the side of his house.
Yeah, he was in a video.
Yeah, it was in something.
He was in Totally Committed, I think, wasn't it?
It was in something.
I don't
for
know
sure.
which video.
Yeah.
We went to his house for Germany the next year, which is another funny story. But so the contest. So the contest gets the day of the contest. It gets rained out. So they actually have to move all of the ramps inside, and they come to the riders and they say, "Listen, guys, unfortunately, because we had to do this, you can't compete in all three. You're going to have to pick two. So I picked street and launch ramp. Now, here's the ironic thing. We already did a few practice runs on the downhill.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't even close. Everyone fell. Everyone fell. I was waiting down at the bottom of the hill, I don't know, 10 minutes, 50, I don't know how long. It was, I felt like your control of the board was an afterthought. Like these guys wanted to just be able to build up speed to do a trick. I didn't have ramps, man. The trick for me was riding and having really good control. So I was already bombing hills. I was super comfortable with this. So it's a shame because I really was looking forward to that event. I was really looking forward to that. So I picked street and launch ramp. And I remember the lines. I remember at the time I was doing like frontside 540s on quarter pipes and half pipes pretty comfortably. And it was, if you see the contest, you can see it's a tight setup. It's not a great setup, but James Fisher was there.
Okay, cool.
And he was a judge, the inventor. They were judges, and they came up to me and said, do you think you could air over the Pepsi Max bus?
No way.
What did you say?
I instantly said, I'll give it a shot.
How big is this bus, man? Like a school bus? Like a camper
It was
van?
massive, dude. It was massive. It would have been, they never set it up. And I'm in retrospect, I'm kind of glad about that because I know I would have tried to impress them, right? So, because if you see the contest setup, it made no sense. They had this 5-foot little mini ramp, and then they had this massive 10-foot quarter pipe. So you have this massive quarter pipe going to nothing. You have all this speed, and you're just going to run into something. So, they gave it they gave it a shot. Yeah. So I win both of those events. It was amazing. I still have the trophies as I showed in those pictures.
Yeah.
The Steins, right?
Yes.
And I won a watch. I won that they gave me a watch too. And
like a Rolex or what?
It's called a sector. They said you're gonna win $500 for each event, 500 pounds for each event. And you're going to win a 500 pound watch.
So you won 2 events?
Yes.
So that's grand, man. When you were 14, you said?
Yeah.
Oh.
14, yeah.
What did you do?
My mom opened up a bank account for me.
Sweet.
Really? There's not much naughty that you can spend it on in Guernsey, to be fair.
Yeah. How what? Because you did the 720 in the finals off the launch ramp. I remember that was the
Correct.
big thing hearing about because internet wasn't around then. That was the winning trick, wasn't it?
I did a 720. I was doing 720s.
Hello.
There you are.
Yeah,
got you back.
Yeah, got you. Cool. Yeah. So you were saying you were doing 720s pretty comfortably back then.
I was doing them before I went. It was odd because of the setup. I couldn't really showcase that. So it was crazy that I pulled it off in that environment. I would say that was crazy. As soon as I came back, so a lot of people don't know this, but Snakeboard USA they weren't happy with the vibe, the energy before this. When I won, that was a catalyst event that caused them to put money in and get behind it more. So I did a photo shoot. Have you seen the poster of me doing a 50 down this rail?
Yep. Yep.
I didn't send you that though,
Okay. Oh, I thought you meant.
but it's a similar rail.
Yes.
So
Yes. I remember that. So was that
it's
after
black
that
and
was?
white.
Yeah. With your hair back.
I'm wearing a bandana. Okay. So cool story. They in typical Snakeboard USA fashion, they hire a photographer that's not an action photographer, right? He's like National Geographer, so who knows? Okay. He goes and we're gonna do. Brandon decides, and I owe my snakeboarding Brandon pretty much. Just say that right away. AJ was super cool. He believed in me, but Brandon was my guru. Okay. Brandon thinks it's going to be, this is a cool handrail for this guy. I do this handrail. It's a 14 stair, like 8 times. Okay. And I'm going to Brandon like, dude, I don't know how many more times I can do this without falling. Okay. And so the last time I go up, I actually kind of get a little hung up and I end up nose pick grinding like down this rail.
Yeah.
The photographer goes, whoa, that was cool. Can you do that again?
No way.
Because I didn't get it. And I'm just like, you son of a gun. So I go up to nose pick grind this and I just wreck myself. Like yeah, it's bad. I fall on my, nothing permanent, but I hurt myself. And it's really sad because from that point on, I had a phobia about nose pick grinding handrails.
Yeah.
You would think that I would be doing that all over the place with nose manuals, but no.
That's kind of sensible on those old boards though.
Well,
what board were you riding at the time?
The original skinny bar, long bar, skinny bar, no nose, no tail.
Yeah.
That board.
Yeah.
And you might find this interesting, but the first tricks that I did on handrails were not 50-50s. I never saw anybody 50-50 handrail. I didn't know that was really a thing. I did crooked grinds and 5/0s on handrails first.
Wow.
I did not 50-50 first.
That's
The first handrail I ever did still is in Ventura. It's at a restaurant by the beach. I was just there the other day. It's a 7 stair, and I remember it very vividly that I went up and crooked grind that handrail, and I thought it was like the coolest feeling. Like handrails were just cool. So it was 5/0 and crooked grinds.
When did you start doing big gaps? Because that's, I think, when I sort of came across your name originally, it was in Disturbed.
Mm-hmm.
And then I watched a section on YouTube before we started. It's one with the big floaty mute.
Yeah,
like
that's from Hellburger. No, that's Hellburger. I think like your section in Disturbed still to this day is my favorite ever snakeboard section or streetboard section, and I say that a lot. Like that was
Disturbed or Hellburger?
I prefer, there's something about Disturbed. I don't know if it's because it's got Bad Brains, like that Bad Brains track on it, but there's something about that Disturbed section.
Okay.
And it was your tail grabs that you would float down those huge sets of stairs that you just styled them out. Like I've never seen anyone except for your brother style out tail grabs like.
Yeah. Got you.
Do you if we said Beatty slide to you, do you know what that means?
I'm thinking it's the put the hand down kind of like surfing a wave. Like, I think that's what you mean, right?
Did you do that on purpose, or was it just?
I did that on purpose to kind of simulate like, dropping into a wave and you kind of like putting your hand on the water kind of thing. And it started being kind of a cool little, I would do it downhill if I'm like shifting to fakie. I would put my hand down to kind of slide over. I think I started maybe unintentional, but then I started doing it intentionally.
Yeah, because we thought that looked so cool, man. There's there's a gap in Hellberger where you do a big gap and then you do it off a curb. That was sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
we
Thank
tried to sort of emulate that and called it a Beatty slide.
Yeah. But talking about
Yeah.
videos, yeah, man, how was it filming for those videos, like Disturbed and Hellberger?
So Disturbed was AJ and his rollerblade team. So he had rollerbladers following us for that. And I didn't really have a lot of, it was limited what I did for Disturbed. The one thing that sticks out in my memory is that is in that video, I nose slide down a handrail. It's an 8-stair with no nose, really. That was the first time I actually did that during that video. There's something about AJ and like, you know, him like pulling it out of you and it's like showtime. I mean, I don't know if this happens to you guys, but like in a contest, I remember many, many times standing up, getting ready to do my run and like, I'm going to try something I've never done before. You know, it's not smart, obviously, right?
Yeah.
But it occurs to me. So like, I know we're jumping a little all over the place, but my brother said one of the craziest things he thought I've ever done was the air to 50 over the fun box.
Yeah.
So that was a contest. And that was the first time I ever tried it. I never tried it before.
Yeah.
It was like, I think I can do this. This makes sense. Let me go for it. Right. So I do that. And I wonder if the footage is out there, but Andy's at that contest, Andy Cass. And you know, he's kind of getting started. But in that contest, for whatever reason, they put a like 7-foot tall mannequin right in the middle of a launch ramp. And the announcer said, AJ's like, I wonder if anybody's going to go over there and do that. And I 360 that in that contest. And I remember vividly, like that was a nice win because we mixed it up with the mannequin and I did that air to 50 and that opened up a new, you know, I don't know if you guys would say anything was, you know, in my memory, my craziness was, hey, I don't know if that's possible, that gap or that handrail. And that's when my ears would perk up and go, well, now I'm interested. You know, like in the very beginning, when I came back, I sent you a picture of this. They had this kinked rail off of a little launch ramp. And this is all like rollerblader equipment, right? And they didn't think anybody was going to go and mess with that. And nobody did mess with it for a longer time. But I went over there and just hard charged it. And so I did take some notes because I wanted to mention some things that I think you guys would find very, very interesting. So when I won, there was a rumor that they were going to, you know, this is LA, like Southern California. There was a rumor that they were going to get snakeboarding in the movie Double Dragon.
No.
And in the movie Never Ending Story Part 3, both of them. They were slated.
Is there a Never Ending Story Part 3?
There is, apparently. Yeah, like if you watch the movies, I mean, if they're watchable nowadays, right? You can see like they were trying to paint this futuristic thing. Yeah. And I think wherever you would see rollerbladers is where they would have substituted snakeboarders, right? So that was what they were thinking. Before I went to Guernsey, the only skate park I had access to was a famous one called Pal Peralta, all right, in Santa Barbara. And there's probably lots of skate videos about this park, but they had a wall. This is in a warehouse. They had a wall that was an entire quarter pipe. This quarter pipe went up to like 20 feet tall, and you could actually drop in from the very top. At 13 years old, I climbed up to the top and tried to drop in. I mean, you're talking like, I don't know, 8-10 feet of vert before you start hitting a transition. The whole park stopped when I was just up there because, I mean, you don't really drop in on that. You just use it, right? So, but I I wanted to give it a shot. So Brandon has all this on tape, by the way.
Do you still speak to Brandon then?
I wish, man. I love that guy. I miss him, and I can't find him on social media, but I'm going to keep looking and trying to scour. So he would be able to give you insight into both the company and the company dynamics and like the riders and all of that throughout the years. We actually did a show at the Anaheim Pond. It was a roller hockey show, halftime. We were sponsored by Converse. So we had to wear high top Converse strapped into the snakeboards. Okay. And AJ choreographed this. So Lear is in the show. Jamie Amato is in the show. I'm in the show. And what happened was you would, with the rollerbladers, you would go around the rink, circle around, then you would do an air, just the beginning air off the launch ramp to flat. Okay, that's all we did back then. And then a handrail on the way back, and then you do it again, and you do a more advanced trick. Okay, so my trick was just a 360 like bar grab, like a mute, right? Just big, nice, and I could comfortably do that all the time. Lear did a 540. And nobody even knows who Lear is. This was like in a stadium of people, like halftime show. Yeah. Poster photo shoot. Okay, another thing that I think is interesting. As soon as I came back from 1994 winning and with it 720, I immediately started doing 900s to put the evolution out there, right?
What sort of year? Sorry, did you say?
97, did you say?
97.
No, 94 when
94,
I came back. 94, 95.
Damn.
So I would do 900s. But here's what happened. In the beginning days and contests, I would like bust a 7 to win, right? I felt like I didn't want to be a one-trick pony. Like that was going to be my only thing. I literally, if you watch anything out there on me, I did 7s in 1993, 1994, 1995. I didn't do them after that. Not really.
Yeah.
I abandoned it because I wanted, in my mind, I wanted to go in a different direction, I guess. I don't know. I know that I didn't want to be known as, oh, that's just what he's going to do every time kind of thing. That's kind of what I felt.
But when you were doing 900s, were you doing them off a launch ramp to flat?
In the back of Victor's house, man. That's what we were.
Victor, and you're talking about Victor Merstick.
Victor Merstick.
Yeah. He had a launch ramp. I mean, I had nothing. Okay. Yeah. So it may sound like an excuse, but there's no skate parks.
Yeah.
I don't have a driver's license. Brandon is married with a young baby. Like, it's not his job to drive me everywhere, right? If we were going to go down to a skate park, the drive is 4 hours one way to get where Kelly is. Yeah. To go to an actual skate park. So the crazy part about this is, when I think back on it, is when my practice on like a vert ramp or a mini ramp was when I was getting sent to do a show or an exhibition or a contest, which is crazy. I didn't have access to it. And that actually became to be very frustrating for me and hurtful. Is like, especially, I would say the real nail in the coffin is when snakeboarding built that crazy setup for Kelly in the warehouse. Mm-hmm. That ramp was unbelievable. The transitions, the sheet metal, it was a mini ramp next to a vert ramp, and it was freaking perfect. Kelly had the keys. He had his drum kit in there. They were playing music, pizza parties. You got access to this. I lost my mind. Okay. I lost my mind. I mean, it was almost like, you guys, you're killing me, man. I would just love to just have access. Yeah. There's no concrete free skate parks. it was just me in the streets.
Yeah, yeah.
That's it. Stairs.
You've always been in Ventura, yeah? You've always been based in Ventura, more or less.
Basically, from yeah. So I mean, I will say another thing that's you will find interesting. I think it's 95 or 96. They send us, me and Victor, to do an opening of a skate shop in Texas. Okay. And it's a skate shop on the second floor, and on the first floor, it's an adult arcade with a bowling alley and stuff. Okay.
Perfect.
Cool, right?
Perfect.
Tony Hawk is at this setup. Okay. The event, our show gets rained out. So they give us unlimited arcade cards to go play games. So I'm bowling with Tony Hawk, and we're racing motorcycles on the video games. And like, I'm talking to the man, right?
Yeah.
We end up doing the show. And I would say one of the best things that's most memorable to me is that I would like nose pick grind to fakie on the vert ramp. Tony Hawk did that trick. I mean, obviously he did it like insane. But when I did it in front of him, he gave me a little tap on the coping with his board. I'll take it, baby. I'll take it.
Especially,
That's so cool, man.
And back then as well, that was like the days
Yeah.
he was at the height of everything. That's it.
Mm.
Right.
Yeah, this is, well, I mean, if you guys remember or see footage, we were on the X Games halftime show. So
Okay.
like 93 to 97 is kind of considered like a dead time for skating. This is pre-ESPN, pre-X Games. Tony Hawk's doing
skateboarding.
Yeah,
The game.
basically. Yeah. It's like street skating. That's when street skating kind of like came up. So when you guys talk to Kelly and these guys about like why Snakeboard USA like had its issues, I never really knew.
Yeah.
I thought, what I was told anyway at the time was this: we were auditioning for X Games, being on the halftime shows, vert ramp, street course, me, Andy, Rob, Kelly, Pete, you know, that, and you know, some international guys. Ingo would come sometimes. D Cooper came once, you know. But here's what they ended up saying to us. They said, these contests, they have like 20, 30, 40 people on with skateboards and rollerblades and bikes. There's like 5 of you guys that can do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's too early, is what they told us. You need more time to develop. I thought that was the nail in the coffin, because listen, man, if X Games gave snakeboard time in a contest, I mean, look at all the other sports they do, right? Like if they gave them a section, that could have been just massive, right? So yeah.
How did you end up like
Yeah.
so why did you stop, and like how did you end up kind of like stopping, and then what have you been up to since? What's filled that gap?
We heard you're a spy or something. Any truth in this?
or you can't tell us.
There was a rumor years ago that I was like, yeah, in the CIA. That's not true. I did for a little period of time work for the military, but I wasn't in a 3-letter word. None of that. So here's the thing: is when you guys asked me to do this, I started thinking about all the memories, right? And it brought up a lot of happiness and sadness, because what I miss most is the people. Like I miss you guys. I miss the crew. I miss Ian and Ingo and, you know, Kelly, although Kelly was like an adult to me, right? So it was more like Andy and Rob. Mm-hmm. So when I talked to Andy and Rob, actually over the course of this last week, we were conversing. Mm-hmm. They were like we were like the three adopted brothers, in my opinion. I absolutely adore both of those men. I love them. So we were all close in age, and you know, we all had kind of different styles a little bit. Andy was very snowboard. I mean, I remember the event I met Andy and his whole crew at. It was crazy. There was no one there in Chicago to pick me up from the airport. It's a dangerous airport. I land at midnight. I take a cab to the hotel, and I pass this hotel room, and it's cracked open, and it's a bunch of dudes watching somebody ride snakeboard. And I'm like, well, this must be it. And it's Andy and his crew, and they were filming stuff. And I'm like, they just adopted me, man. I absolutely love Matt Kirsch and Andy's team. They were adorable people, man. Adorable people. Just getting started. Street skating. Yeah. And me and Pete were there to do vert ramp. Now, again, why this is some of my only time on the vert ramp, right? So here's the feelings I have as I'm thinking back on this, right? I don't think people knew, and I don't think I really was able to really understand. You're sending me 14, 15, 16 around to do shows and events with grown men, skateboarders, BMX, guys that have been doing it for 10 years, 15 years. They got skater die tattooed on their arm. I'm getting bullied. I'm getting cut off. I'm getting like, why are you doing this, man? The announcers would make fun of me, like all the time. And it was either just me or me and another person. Yeah. And I was like, I'm going to do this well enough where you guys even have to like respect, you know. I didn't shy away, but it was like, that's the adversity that was there, you know. It was, I mean, thinking back on it, I don't think I really even thought about it much, but that was the environment, you know, getting cut off, getting, you know, hey man, like, what are you doing? I mean, these guys are like 20 years old, you know, I'm 12 years old, right? So
that's crazy.
13 years old. So
I've never thought about it that way.
Yeah. So I would, to answer your question, I'm all over the place, but to answer your question is, when I would go around to all these events and I would see, you know, they would offer me like alcohol. They'd offer me drugs. I said, I was so innocent, man. I said no to everything. And basically in my mind, I had to make a choice. If I stay doing this, I'm going to end up like these guys. I'm going to end up like, you know, drinking, doing, you know, a show for $30 when I'm, you know, 20. I'm like, I'm good in school. I'm going to go to college. Like and it hurt me a lot because this gave me so much, like all the people, Victor, Brandon, like I said, when I would go to the international events, and especially when everybody else was like with Rob and Pete, we would do events together. Now I'm not alone anymore. Now I'm not up there by myself. I'm with my people, man, my friends. And I just basically, 1997 was in Universal Studios, right? Yeah. I did not go. They gave me a ticket and I said, give it to my brother or something. And it was like, I didn't want the sport to leave me. I wanted to leave on my terms, I guess. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. Yeah. And I know I was really like choked up. I was angry because I felt like the odds were always stacked against me. Like I didn't have nothing. I had no ramps, you know, like I didn't have the setup that Kelly had. You know, they built a mini ramp for Andy in his barn. You know, I heard that. I don't know if it's true. I was like, man,
I think
this is tough. Now,
he kind of had the foresight at that young age to know that it had a very sort of it had a time limit on it. What was happening? It was gonna end at some point. That was it's very insightful,
Well, it's just the timing of it, right?
Mm.
If ESPN and X Games had happened earlier, I would have been able to see people that had really big success with it.
Yeah.
And that wasn't available. X Games just hit when I stopped, basically.
Yeah.
And actually, when I stopped, as depressing as it is, there were skate parks that popped up after I stopped, that I could then go to, man. It was brutal. So, yeah, that was brutal. But yeah,
Cool. I just thought of someone we haven't mentioned, because I remember the one time I've been up to Ventura was hanging out with Victor Rodriguez. Was he part of your crew then as well?
He was.
Yeah.
Super cool guy.
Yeah.
Super cool. He's still around here somewhere.
Yeah.
Talented.
Just
nice
humble,
guy.
real humble, really nice guy. I remember he gave us a ride up there, and
really, really, really good. Yeah. So, I did think it would also be interesting. So Hellburger, to go back to Hellburger.
Yeah. I really want to hear about
that. Was the one video that they brought me in to help edit.
Okay.
So me and Kelly they gave us cameras. So Brandon and Kelly cameras. So we brought all the footage. We put it all out there. I wanted a lot more slow motion. I felt it was underutilized. I liked slow motion in certain films. So I wanted slow motion, and I selected the music for my part this time. I never did before. Yeah. I wanted something like off the beaten track for like the second section of my part. And Kelly and I were there. We both decided how to do it. And I never was a part of that process. So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
What was the music in that section?
It was Sabrosa. It was first of all, it was Jimi Hendrix, and then Beastie Boys Sabrosa. I remember.
Yeah.
Very well.
And honestly, you had it. You nailed it. I didn't even know that was a Beastie Boys acoustic track until somebody told me later. I just thought it was kind of like this funky, cool thing, track to do something separate, a lot of slow motion on that. So I want to offer something to all of the riders out there, if I can.
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I took a little survey, of what do you think the craziest thing I ever did, right? Because I heard you ask that of Britain and some other people, okay? So according to there's a lot of pro skateboarders in Ventura and SoCal, all right? And do you know the trick where I nose manual bomb that hill in Hellburger?
Yes.
Down to the underground.
Yeah, because I watched that just before this.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. According
to local pro skaters, they say, no way. Nobody's doing that. Nobody knows, because skaters know that spot. That's a crazy steep hill. And the crazier part about it is at the bottom, if you look carefully, that's a drain. You have to jump over that or you're done. It's over for you.
Yeah, you pop out.
So, you got to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So here's my offer. If any rider is in LA, California, and they drive an hour north to Ventura, hit me up, find me, or go find that spot. Videotape yourself doing a nose manual bomb down that hill like I did, and I will send you $500.
Well, just to let you know, I've just booked some flights to LA, but good news is
Do it.
You can't
Do
nose
it.
manual, mate.
good
You
news
can't
is
nose manual for
I can't
shit.
manual. I can't do any kind of manual. But
I
I'm
can't
trying to
nose
convince
manual.
Sam to come with me. So,
Well, I'm convinced, mate. I'm convinced. What did you say? Have you booked flights?
yeah. We'll talk about it after, but
Oh,
I might
yeah.
have to move them because of work.
Cool.
But
All right, shit.
Yeah.
cool.
Okay.
Dope.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it would be
Travel, they-
cute and cool.
We'll talk later.
Yeah. We'll talk later on that one. Cool, Matt.
It's out there. You're on.
My one question is, if we are out there and we do hook up, are we gonna can we convince you to get back on a board just for old time's sake?
Here's what I will tell you is when I watched Britton's interview with you, the like #1 podcast, he talked about getting back to just writing, like the focus, is on doing X, Y, and Z. Listen, man, that's where I got my start, just writing and writing well, like feeling invincible. Like I miss that a lot. I mean, there were times, this is part of the craziness would be, you ever feel like you're having such a good day and you can do anything. So I would feel like that, and I would go and do a set or a handrail without looking at it. I don't even look down the rail and see how long it is. I just go and do it. That feeling of control and just speed is, I would love to just ride in that. I don't know where, again, I don't access to, right? But I would cruise with you guys.
Cool.
I would.
Okay.
I would do it. Yeah.
That's gonna happen, because that would be like a lifelong dream.
Hey, man, like 13-year-old me is so fucking stoked right now.
Yeah. I mean, one thing, just to go back a little bit, when I know, when you ended it and you had a lot of hardships and you didn't have like the skate parks, just know, like, you inspired me, I know, and Sam, and there's a whole generation of guys I know in the UK massively, to like, just through a lot of my streetboard snakeboard journey came from watching you and you ride. And it was the street that really got me, because in London back then we didn't have skate parks. 96 Worlds was the first like decent skate park we had. So before then it was like, cool, I can go out there and ride street, I can go out there and do that. And because of that, I have some of my best friends, talking about the people, Sam, we met on the streetboard forum online many years ago, and we and all of the streetboard family out there. So something great did come of those times, and I thank you for that massively.
Well, that's I always wanted nothing but the sport to continue and to get big. I wanted to promote it, and so that's another reason why I'm like, I want to continue to talk to you guys and see if there's things that I can do, like this cool little, hey man, duplicate this part from the video kind of thing. Like that could be kind of cool, right? So, anybody out there, you can find me on Facebook, or whatever. You can always hit me up. I mean, I'm old and broke down now, but but
hey, let's not forget about that 500. It's a monkey. It's Beatty's monkey. You got to go and find. You've got to go to, where is it? Ventura.
It's in Ventura.
The nose manual. Yeah, you got to go to make the quest to Ventura to get Beatty's golden monkey.
That's right. Now, it's not for like 20 people to go and do. I'm gonna hand out $10,000. Okay, so it's gonna be first person.
There's only one golden monkey. If you don't know what I'm talking about, a monkey is what they call 500 quid in London.
Gotcha.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
They do like animal-based transactions.
Cool.
Yeah.
I was going to say, is there anything else that you had noted that you wanted to talk about? I think we got there.
I am.
Yeah,
Jay. Pool.
Yeah.
We hear you're kind
You
of
were a pool shark for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, most
Well,
of that is
trophies
pool
behind you.
these days,
Yeah.
but I mean, I always liked pool, I guess, and it's something that I get to again have like a social scene and be kind of competitive at, I guess. So, you know, it has it fills that void for me. So
Cool.
yeah, I would say that. I would say also a couple things about Britain, if I can, real quick. So first time I met Britton was in Utah. We did a show called the Big Ass Tour concert, right? And at that outdoor concert, the band Korn was playing for the first time. Like, I don't know about the first time, but they weren't Korn yet. They were like, you know, unknown. I do remember this vividly because my brother, when Korn came on, was already like in the crowd and he got trapped in the mosh pit. And when he came out, he had like a bloody nose and like, but he had a big smile on his face. Okay. Britain was at that event and he obviously just got started. He didn't have like the control yet, but he was already kind of trying things that were outside the box. And I was like, yes, yes, you got it. The second thing that's most notable, I didn't really get to hang. I don't know Britain very much at all. However, years later, after I'm in like college, I take him to UCLA, okay, because there's a set of stairs that I did there. It's 18, it's huge, all right, it's big. And I Trans World Skateboard Magazine did a photo shoot with me. And they took me to that 18 and I ended up doing another like series. So I was in like a wakeboard magazine. I don't know where all this stuff is. Brandon has a lot of footage, right? Britain does this 18 that I point out to him and his wheel pops off when he lands. And it brought back like this. Well, first of all, whenever I land this, my wheel pops off first. Secondly, when he landed it, he had this look in his eyes of both excitement and anger. Mm. And I remember this look because that's how I used to feel. I used to feel like this is and then a look of like, but I'm alone. I'm the only one out here sessioning, you know? Mm-hmm. Anybody else want to jump off 18, you know? Like, yeah. I had this same feeling that I saw in his eyes. I don't know if he actually had that feeling, but that's what I felt. I saw it there a little bit. And I remember having that feeling of like, I wanted everyone to get to the point, you know, to ride and be a team and like be big. One more cool thing that you'll think is crazy. Mm-hmm. Back in the day, I went into one of Snakeboard USA's, me and Brandon, into his house. He had a snakeboard with ice blades underneath. Okay. And their idea was to do like ice launch ramps, like Disney.
No way.
Like those ice skating shows.
Way. Ingo rides one of those.
Does he have one?
Yeah, no, I've seen it on his Instagram, man in Munich or wherever the fuck he is. Munich.
Is it one blade or two blades under each truck, Sam?
I couldn't tell you, man, but he's on ice. Like it's Ingo on ice. It's a magnificent thing to see.
Yeah, I remember this guy showing this to us and Brandon going like, Jay, if you go up there and don't grab the nose or the tail, you're gonna like slice your hand. Yeah. I don't know how sharp these blades are, but we were tripping out on that. So I just Yeah, that's crazy because they experimented a lot with different things. They even experimented with a snowboard that was sectional that you could move
Really?
like a snakeboard. Yeah.
Sounds like a
I don't know
broker
where all
call.
this stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
they were just going
Crazy
off
days.
into outer space.
Yeah, yeah. Cool. Man, I have one last question to ask you. Because you've mentioned a few times, and like before we like properly started, that you've asked some of the other guys what your craziest trick was. So you said you asked like,
Yeah.
you didn't tell me which Rob and Andy. What did they say? Rob and
They were more like, what they emphasized was it's a shame that there isn't more internet stuff out there about me and Andy and Rob, and how, if you just watched what we did that's on the internet, you really wouldn't get the full scope
Picture.
of what we were up to and what we were capable of.
Yeah.
I think what they both kind of said the same thing as one of my brothers, which was the trick necessarily wasn't the crazy part. It was somebody would mention, maybe you could do this, and then I would go and do it, or be like the first, like, hey man, I'm not going to do it, but if you go do it, I'll go do it. I'll feel safer if you go do it first, kind of thing. So I would say that a lot of people talked about like bombing hills and going really fast. That was, I always did feel.
What do you feel is your craziest trick? Is there one that you think back?
The air to 50 in a contest, never having done it before, that was probably crazy. However, I aired to 5.0 later in Snow Valley. So, I mean, it may not be crazy, but to think back on it, that in 93, I would front side board slide down a rail off a launch ramp on that bar.
That's crazy.
That would be pretty crazy by standard. So I mean, maybe the nose manual bomb, that would be. There's some big gaps and big sets of stairs, and
can I tell you
the handrail at the end? Yeah, the handrail at the end of Hellberger. Okay, that's not even a skate spot. It's not even a spot. You would never go there. There's no reason for us to even be there. Okay. There's no room to take off. If you watch closely, I actually have to like propel myself to get even enough speed to get up there. Don't ask me why I even tried it. I think I tried it because somebody said, well, that would be crazy. That was enough for me to go up there and just be a maniac.
That's so nuts, that rail. You're like surfing down it. You're doing this.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how the fuck you're balancing it. It's so steep. And you're dabbing, in fact.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is not a skate spot. That's like a Coliseum. Yeah. There's like, yeah, that was just random and crazy. So, yeah, there's a lot of things that come to mind, but I think it would be more like just that, like I was saying, like, being willing to go and, hey, there's this kinked rail, there's this gap. I wonder if you can get over it all. I wonder if you can get this speed to do it. In San Francisco, there's a famous gap called the Gonzalo Gap or the Gonzales Gap. You got to go from the wall to the stairs. Okay, I did that, and Kelly was like, "Dude, that's crazy because there's no room to get speed up there. Like, you can't carve." Yeah, I had to like. Brandon has it, man. I mean, Brandon probably has a ton of this stuff that.
It was a different time as regards to, like capturing stuff, and obviously, social media, like video filming skating was like an undertaking,
Yeah.
And then it existed in a physical form, and like, so Brandon's got it in his attic or whatever, it's not.
Yeah.
If he still has it, yeah, he's got the VHS tape somewhere, Yeah.
No. It adds a certain kind of mystery, to the front side board.
It does.
Yeah. I tell you, my favorite trick of yours is, I think it's in Hellberger, where you do the melon to method off that launch ramp to flat, and you land on the flat.
to
Yeah.
flat.
Yeah, that is just like the
Mhm.
most stylish
Mhm.
trick I've ever seen. And I remember
Well,
Brian did something
I
similar.
like to do that.
Yeah, go on, sorry.
I
Yeah,
like,
Brian's got a mean meta method, man.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sorry. I used to do that to air to fakie, like
Yep.
melon method to fakie.
Mhm.
And then in the very beginning, I would do like a method to tail grab, two separate, like spaced out grabs. I kind of stopped doing that a little bit, but yeah, when I did that, Ian in '96 goes, "Man, you did that," and I'm like, "Man, I've been wanting to do that, and you son of a yeah." So that was I appreciate that. Well, in the beginning, it was really like the thing for me was, if I'm going to do a grab, I'm going to make it distinct, and I'm going to do it as smooth and big and as controlled as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Every trick dialed in like that, and nothing is going to be. I'd rather do that than do something small and technical and sketchy. I'd rather go bigger and higher.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, here's a funny story. If you go online and you look at the 1996 footage
Mm-hmm.
that's in the contest,
Yeah.
there's a scene where Ingo is talking to a group of people, but you can't hear what he's saying. He's talking to me in that scene, and and for the first time we're having this dialogue, and he's saying, "I want to know how you go so high. I want to know how you go high." Because and he's sitting there going, and I'm just kind of laughing, and Rob and I are there like with the team, but I'm like, that I appreciate that, Ingo. Like, you're a legend, and that was cool. But I mean, that's I got started on the smallest launch ramp, so I had to get all the juice out of that launch ramp I could, and so that was my thing, I guess.
Cool, man, cool. Well, I mean, anything else you wanted to cover, or are you good? You good?
We got the golden monkey out there,
We
right?
got the golden
Sam?
monkey.
So
We're good to go. Well, Jay, any
Please,
thank yous
golden
you want to
monkey.
put out there?
I would just tell everybody, Andy Cass, Rob Nye, Brandon, I love you guys, and I miss you guys. Ian, love you, miss you. Mark Churchill, D. Cooper, I love those guys. Yeah, man. And I want to stay in touch with you guys and see what you're up to, and maybe there's some way that I can,
Definitely.
be an observer,
That would be
something
awesome.
like.
Well, that's easier than ever these days,
Yeah. No,
Cool.
that would be appreciated. But Jay,
Mhm.
thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure to listen to the stories and to speak to you.
Awesome. Well, I thank you guys, man. Bring me back some of the best times.
It's been great listening to the old times, man. And yeah, you were a big influence on my riding back in the day, and still is.
Cool.
So,
Thank
thank you.
you very much. Thank you.
Thank
And
you,
that
guys.
is DRGNCAST. Thank you, Jay. That was excellent.
Oh man, all good.